Hi and welcome back. This is going to be the final video of the building of my Gypsy Wagon series. Uh, I'm going to do, I'll show you each step that I used along the way and dimensions and materials used and how I did it. And then at the very end, I'll show you a video tour, both inside and outside, of my completed Gypsy Wagon. If you followed this series, thank you. And I hope you enjoy this final video and a summary of how it went. So here's a sneak preview of the outside of the Vardo or Gypsy Wagon. The first step was to find a trailer. And new trailers are $1,200–$1,400. So I had hoped to find a used one on buy sell trade pages or something for maybe 500 or so. But I happened onto one alongside the road that I picked up for $70. The tires were like new, including a new spare, so it was quite a deal. So the first thing I had to do was get all the rust off of it, grind it and get it down to bare metal so that I could prime and paint it with black Rust-Oleum paint. So you can spray it either with aerosol, or I do have an airless sprayer that I could have sprayed it with, but I just wanted to get a really good heavy coat on it to really undercoat it well where it's hard to get at in the future. So I brushed it on, and it took a little extra time, but I wasn't in a big hurry for this project. So anyway, working in my garage, I was able to lift it up with a chain hoist and get the underside, and everything's well coated in paint and in great shape for what I paid for it. So the next thing I had to do was build a floor. And I wanted this to be all treated lumber, and you do too. But I needed to keep it as strong as I could, but as light as I could. So where I could I used 2x2s where it was supported with metal frame structure as well, and 2x4s where I needed the extra strength, and then treated 3/4 inch plywood. And I built this little step in the back, which I'm glad I did. You'll see in the future how nice it is to have. So the style of Vardo I was building is called a ledge. So next I needed to build the risers that go up to the ledge. For this I used 2x2s vertically and 1x2s on the top and bottom for the plates. I covered it in 1/4 inch exterior plywood, again to watch weight, and it makes it strong but light. On the risers I used 2x10s and cut corbels that'll support the weight of the ledge. Then I covered that in black flashing, and the only way I could find that was 24 inch by 50-foot rolls for about $95 a roll. So that's what I covered it in. It's all backed with the 1/4 inch plywood sheeting. And I should add that all of the plywood is glued on with paneling glue. Next I framed the walls. Now the side walls slope out at 5 degrees from the top of the ledge. They're framed with 2x2s vertically and 1x2s again for the top and bottom plates. The 2x2s are on 24 inch center. The ledge is a 1x10 on top of the corbels that the walls sit on. The walls were then sheeted with exterior 1/4 inch plywood and glued on with exterior paneling glue. I'll cut the door and the windows in later. At this point, it was going to get too tall to be in the garage. So from here on, I had to work outside, and I had to hurry. Winter was coming. So next it was time to build the roof. So I cut all the parts out in the garage, and trial assembled everything in pieces on the floor. The rafters are 2x4s set up on edge, and the end arches are 3/8 exterior plywood notched so that the rafters would interlock with the ends. Once all the pieces were cut and ready to assemble, I moved them outside to the top of the walls and assembled it in place. The roof was then sheeted again with 1/4-inch exterior plywood and everything glued down to the rafters. I put that plywood on to the rafters and all the other plywood for that matter with deck screws. So the floor is 12 foot long, and I made the roof 14 foot long to allow for a 2-foot overhang out the back. Next, I built a back door, which is 1x8, tongue and groove, barn siding. I got the porthole window from eBay, and I started adding the aluminum flashing to the outside and cut in windows. And the window sashes are wooden barn window sashes from Menards I got for $17 each. So by this point we were into mid-November. I wanted to get the roof on, and we happened to get a 55-degree day. The cement that is used to put the EPDM on needs 40 degrees and rising. I knew there wouldn't be many of these days left. So I ran to Menards and got the EPDM rubber roofing, and with the help of a neighbor, we got it put on while it was warm enough for the glue to set. There was still a little time before the snow would start to fly, so I began working on the wood trim outside and got the rest of the windows in, and pre-stained all the wood trim before it was applied, so it's covered in the back and sealed. And just made it for the snow to start. So I got it closed in just in time for the snow to fly here in Ohio, and could work on the inside all winter. I wired it very much like you would do residential wiring first, and then added 1.5-inch thick styrofoam insulation between each stud and between the rafters on the ceiling. The plastic on the face of the insulation is a good moisture barrier. We had originally wanted to put beadboard up for the paneling, but couldn't find any place, Lowe's, Menards, or Home Depot, that stocked beadboard in 4x8 sheets. We needed full sheets to do the ceiling. But we found one that we liked, actually ended up liking better, at Home Depot. So the paneling went up. I used construction paper to make templates for the arches and areas that were difficult cuts. Once the paneling was completed, I added crown molding to the 1x4 top plate, which left a cavity that would later hold LED lighting as a night light or mood lighting. Now it was time to build the bed. It's a retractable bed that retracts into 32 inches wide and expands out to 60 inches wide, which is a standard size for a queen bed. There's a lot of tutorials on YouTube of how to build these, so I won't go into too much of that, but here it is expanded. Then I built the dinette seats with storage under them and a table that slides in and out under the bed. I closed in the front of the bed and made doors that go over that storage area that's under the bed, which is the front end of the camper. Now it was time for a bathroom. And this is where I may lose some of you. If you're the type of person that would camp in a Vardo, you'll be okay with this. If you would camp in a $100,000 Winnebago, you won't. It's actually a type of composting toilet, but technically it's a sawdust toilet. If you Google lovable loo, you'll find a total explanation of how they're used, how the waste is disposed of, how to maintain them. They're 100% odorless, 100% clean, as long as you maintain them. And I have tested this to be graphic, and there is no odor whatsoever. So here's how I did it. I built actually the sawdust toilet and then built the walls around it, just because it was easier space-wise. The walls are just 1x2s and then sheeted in the paneling and a door built that's much like the entry door. Next, I built the kitchen cabinets, and they're just framed with 1x2s. And the doors, I actually got at a salvage yard and was able to cut them and glue them and make them work out. The end is just sheeted in paneling. Before I put the countertops on, I installed a 15-gallon freshwater tank and installed an on-demand water pump that will supply water to the kitchen faucet. For the countertop, I used 1/2-inch plywood and stone paint, finished with about 5 coats of polyurethane over it. Then I cut in the sink and added the kitchen faucet. The water pump turns on automatically when you open the valve and turns off automatically when you close the valve. So structurally, that was about it for the building of the Vardo. Everything else was upholstery and bling and frills and frizzles and things to decor, curtains, all of which you'll see in the video tour. So stick around for that, and thanks for watching.
Alright, here's the deal. In Ohio, if you build a camper, like I did with my Vardo, to do it 100% legal and keep everything the way it's supposed to be, when you're done, you need to get it inspected at a salvage yard that the State Highway Patrol runs. To do that, you pay a $55 inspection fee, and that receipt for that fee gives you the right to haul the camper around without plates to get the needed requirements. One of those is the inspection, and one of those is getting it weighed. We're on our way to the gravel pit to get it weighed. I pulled over here into a church parking lot to video this, in case you're wondering. So it's back there behind us. We've made it 4 miles from home. We got about a mile of rough road to go. So stay tuned. We'll see what it weighs. God, I hope it doesn't weigh enough. I mean, too much. You know what I mean. Okay, I'll be back. Alright, I'm dying to know, but I don't know yet. We put the whole thing on the scale, truck and all. Then we pulled the truck tires off the scale and put the tongue down, put the jag down, so just the whole camper was on there. Now I gotta disconnect the camper and pull the truck back on empty, which will give us the tongue weight. So I'll find out in a minute.
So the camera died before I could record the rest of it, but the story's this. The camper weighs 2440, which I am thrilled to death with. The tongue weight's only 180, so I need to increase that a little bit just to get it up to 10%. Other than that, we're good.
Okay, the final tour. So there's the outside with graphics done. I hand painted some lion griffins on there. I'm no artist, but I think they look alright. They're kind of cool. Those are on both sides. And I did griffins up here on the top front. And the other side, my lions. And the back with the brackets and the ship portal and the door and lion door knocker. We also have storage here on the tongue. We were going to put a propane cooktop on the countertop, and all our friends at camp say you'll never use it. You cook outside because you don't want to heat the camper up. So I have a place here for propane tanks and space to add it if we ever want to, but we're going to wait and see if we really want it or need it. Inside this, I have the jack stands and a cord for electric and a hose for filling a water tank and socket set, and I'm going to add more tools that'll be in there to take along with us in case we have issues or problems, which I hope we don't. Okay, so let's go inside. So there's the inside of the back door. A deadbolt lock on it. There'll be a refrigerator sit here. We're just trying to decide which one we want to get, and we're limited for height. I need 28 inches or under, so we found a couple small ones that'll work. We want to have a freezer in it. Storage up here, those are my receipts that are going to go with me to the inspection in 2 days at the State Patrol. There's the sink. It has running water, and you'll hear the pump. Pump shuts off when you shut the water off. I got a couple outlets I'm going to replace here that got scorched a little bit from a heater that shorted out this winter, so I'm going to replace those. 2 of the outlets is all it is. So there's the dinette. The table, excuse the squeak, it's going to squeal. The table pulls out. That's the dinette table. And I'm going to need 2 hands to pull the bed out, but I'll show you the bed, how it extends. It's 30 inches wide when it's retracted. And hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, so when the bed's pulled out, it's queen bed size, and the dinette cushions fill in between the other mattress and the front. The dogs will sleep under the bed, on the floor in a dog bed. Dog dishes back in these alcoves. And there's our little bling. Oh, and there's LED lighting, light rope in the up in the crown molding. More bling. And this is where I might lose some of you. What we have for a bathroom is a sawdust toilet. If you Google lovable loo, you'll learn all about those and how they're used and how they're maintained and disposed of, and it'll work fine for what we want to do. We have some drawers there for batteries, underwear, socks, and a clothes rod here for t-shirts, shorts, jeans to hang. Our curtains, and all the windows have blinds on them for privacy, like so. The batteries for the water pump are under the bed. I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, so pardon my junk. I've still got things stored under here from construction, leftover parts in the shop back. And there's the batteries. It's two 6-volt batteries wired in series, so it's 12 volt. And over there is a 15 amp breaker panel, which is really all we're going to need. We're only going to have the LED lights and refrigerator on the electric. And eventually I want to add solar panels and an inverter. But that's a later on thing. So, and I'll show you the electric inlet that comes into that breaker box. Okay, back outside. There's where you plug a cord in to get power to the inside. Back here is where you fill the water tank. It's got a 15-gallon water tank. And we'll go back inside. I'll show you that. Okay, so there's the water tank that fills from out there where I just showed you. This is a valve that, if you open, drains the water tank outside. This hose goes out through the floor to a portable gray water tank. And back here's the water pump that you heard run with a filter on it. I think that's about it. Questions, comments, put them below. And I'll do my best to answer what I can, and all comments are welcome. So, hey, thanks for watching all the Gypsy Wagon build. It was a fun project. It took, let's see, I started it October 9th. So, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, actually 5.5 months. Not quite 6 months. There's the flooring. It's just peel and stick tile floor over treated wood, treated plywood. Oh, here's another cupboard for like canned good storage, what have you. And the dinette seats all have storage under them and behind them for whatnots. Still full of nails and all that kind of stuff in there, but that'll be canned goods or mosquito repellent or whatever we need to put in there. So, hey, I think that's it. Thanks for coming along on a ride. It was a fun journey. I'll see you next video.